Hi everyone, welcome to All Four Queens. So I've just done the complaint letter that I actually put out to the authorities when I was going through all this crazy stuff in March, and it was in my spirit this morning that you kept bugging me, you know, like when your intuition kicks in, and it kept bugging me saying you need to put it out, you need to put it out, you need to put it out. Now I didn't do it when I first started the channel, and there was a reason why I didn't, because they didn't want me to, but now I think they want me to. So now it's important that I get it out. But what I wanted to do was do the response as well. Now there's an element in that letter, and hopefully you'll watch that recording. It is a long recording, hence I'm sitting here in the caravan. I've got the bullying thing that I'm really going to push for, and the reason why is let me just get into that a little bit. Obviously you're on a spiritual channel, all things warfare, healing and awakening. We haven't quite got to the healing and awakening yet. We are going through the process ourselves, but in the eye of the storm of the spiritual warfare, which is why I did the recording about my complaints letter. I'm sitting behind the boiler, so bear with if you can hear the noises and it firing up every 5 minutes. I'll do my best, but it's where I've got to sit. It is what it is, or otherwise I stand in the shower room and I can't stand for that long. So I did the letter. I did the letter in the March 2024 when all this started going crazy and stuff. And obviously you can see through the recordings the things that I've been through, and people have lied about stuff and said it's not true. But I mean, obviously you know what you go through, and you know your experience and stuff. And I don't. And one of the things, my disclaimer is, I don't say that every person in authority is negative. I don't believe that at all. I believe that there's a fair few that have probably got themselves into some sort of society, and that's their oath and that's their choice. However, as a taxpayer, I expect to have a service, and I expect to be protected. And I expect to know that I'm being protected, especially when the crimes are so serious and nothing was done. And all they seemed to be bothered about was forcing a narrative of mental health, which wasn't true. And I think that obviously goes back to many years of saying it in the past, when I still didn't have, no one assessed me. So if someone impersonated me as a child and impersonated me as an adult, I never got assessed. No one came and saw me. So and then obviously there's all the issues around when people used to do things with my work and stuff. So I'd go through a cycle of like 7 years, 8 years, and everything could be great. And then all of a sudden something would happen at work, which would obviously, put you on a bit of a downer a little bit, I suppose. But all controlled, all mind control and messed with and manipulated, and someone obviously thinking that they've got the power to just play with people's lives, I guess. But it's all coming out now, isn't it? Even in the tarot land, it's all coming out, and good, because for me this is about humanity, and this is about people not being controlled against their free will. And if people want to put them in experiment programs, tell them about it and let them have a choice, and not be playing God in someone's life because you feel like you've got a position of power and you can. Because the position of power is a privilege. It's not a given that you just can sign off things because you feel that you have that right. You don't, not at all. And hence why the spiritual realm have stepped in, because obviously they see a lot more. It's not just about the twin flame giants, a lot more than that. And obviously from the way I look at life, excuse me, spiritual verb, excuse me, pardon me, the way I look at life, things don't happen to you, they happen for you, and there's a reason. We've all got a purpose, and if my purpose is to stop one more person being a target of these gangs, societies, institutions, whatever you want to call it, because of a program that they've decided they're going to do and harm people without their consent, without their knowledge, well then we need to all know about it, don't we? And it's like I said at the very beginning, I have no problem with people who want to dance in the dark. Absolutely not. If you want to be a witch or a warlock or do spell work, but just be honest about it. Don't walk around with a mask pretending that you're of God and then go off and hurt people in the background. Just be honest about it so people know who they're dealing with, what you stand for, and then they can make a choice. Because one of the things about my channel is about choice. It was always set up for people to be able to have a choice. Yes, I believe in God, of the light, but I also can balance my dark as well. And just because I'm kind and I work from a kind and I work from my heart space doesn't mean I can't stand up and dance in the darkness as well. Not at all, because I was brought up in the darkness. I know how it works. So I can balance both. The question is, can you balance both? And can you transmute energy when it comes back to you? Because it comes back to you as karma. Because for years, people have been manipulating and using alchemy to block judgment, block justice and block karma, and they've been pushing it onto other people. Well, this time round, because obviously 2024 was the year of infinity, and it was everything that anyone's ever done going back. And if you look at some of my earlier recordings, I actually say that. And I remember when I did the recording, and I was new to YouTube, I didn't I didn't really know how the recordings went, but I put the recording out as directed, and I heard people laughing at it. Laughing at it and going, just laughing at it. But the question is, are you laughing now? And if you're not, but also, why have you decided to clone my channel and take my work and plagiarise it? Because you know what I'm saying is true. So let's get on to the complaints report. Let's get on to the complaints response. And this came in 26th of April 2024. Your complaint against the Staffordshire Police. I refer to your above complaint. I am sorry that you are dissatisfied with the Staffordshire Police, but I hope that the action taken will meet your approval. I have read the correspondence you have provided and have received the NICHE occurrence 21240005937, which relates to the incidents you reported. On reading your letter, I have identified your complaint as being Staffordshire Police failing to investigate the incidents reported by me. As an appropriate authority, I must consider whether a reasonable and proportionate way to handle a complaint. Your complaint has been formally recorded and given the reference number CO43924. However, no further action will be taken, as I am of the opinion that your complaint falls into the statutory guidance which was issued by the Independent Office of Police Conduct IOPC in February 2020 and contains the following. Complaint handlers should seek to resolve a complaint's concern wherever possible and reasonable and appropriate and proportionate to do so, even if it is only reasonable and proportionate to take limited steps. However, in circumstances, it may not be reasonable and proportionate to take further action with a complaint after recording it. Circumstances whereas it may not be reasonable to take action with a complaint include, but are not limited to. You can see the word salad start to appear as it starts to come through. My opinion, a complaint that is about an off-duty behaviour of a person serving with the police which has no relevance to their role as a person serving with the police, and, even if proved, would not discredit the police service or undermine police confidence in it. If the complaint is fanciful, this means that it is patently of a nature that no reasonable person could lend any credence to it. It is important to consider the complaint itself rather than the alleged incident giving rise to the complaint. Right, so I'm going to just stop there because that is a complete load of baloney and word salad. So what they're referring to there is when I talk about the gentleman that turned up, the police officer that turned up on my house on a Sunday saying he's got a psychiatric nurse with him randomly. I didn't ask for him. Why did I become a priority when there's so many people out in the world who are desperate and are on a waiting list to be assessed? But he turns up at my house. Now, legally in the UK, there's no reason why anyone would come to your home because you're not a risk. It's only under the Mental Health Act of let me just get it. The Mental Health Act of Section 136 of the Mental Health Act, where they can use their power in emergency, but that's in a public place. I wasn't in a public place, I was in my home, so there was no reason why he came to my house at all. I don't actually know if he was a real police officer, and even if he was, they're just basically covering it over with a load of word salad because it don't make any sense. And even if the question being, even if he was off duty, why would he even be bothered to come out to somebody's home? It doesn't make any sense. There's no logic in it. So to me, I just think it's actually a load of lies. If the complaint would be better handled by another process, for example, a complaint to the Information Commissioner's Office, if the complaint contains too little information to be able to progress any inquiries and attempts to clarify it, and the complaints have been successful, I consider your complaint to be fanciful, and therefore I do not intend to take any further steps. If you are dissatisfied with the outcome, you have the right to request a review by the Staffordshire Commission's Office, Police, Fire and Rescue Crime. The review will be considered whether the outcome of the handling of the complaint is reasonable and proportionate. In order for your request for a review to be held, you must make it within 29 days of the date, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm going to stop on that one for a minute, because when you look at the complaint that I did, sorry, that's not very good English. When I look at the complaint I did and you look at the crimes that I went through, I want you to tell me whether you think they're fanciful crimes, because to me, they're serious crimes. Serious crimes. And also, when you look at some of the other stuff that's built up to it, so obviously you want to isolate someone, you want to get them in a position where where you think they've got no one. And then you start doing your black magic with your candles and things like that, and then throwing stuff out to try and, get an end result. Because we know, obviously, through the channel, through my scenarios and through what other people have been through, and when you look at what I've recorded, we can see the pattern. It's quite clear what they were trying to do, but it just didn't quite work because the spiritual realm said no. And why am I saying that? You are on a spiritual channel, but obviously my view is, yes, I am spiritual, but my view is to make other people wake up and be aware of what's really going on, and also to ensure that no one else goes through what I went through, because not everyone's going to be spiritual and not everyone's going to believe in God. But that doesn't mean somebody else has the right to decide when you stay and when you go. And it also doesn't mean that when you're in a position of authority and you've got a position of power, you abuse it. It's a privilege. And when a taxpayer is reaching out for support, a taxpayer expects service. Irrespective of what you believe in, expect a service. So for me, this is about humanity. This is about ensuring that those who are being bullied and abused, and people that are abusing the positions of power, and those in there that are enabling it and signing things off, using direct energy weapons, allowing people to come to your home. I mean, if someone was off duty in my team, I wouldn't be letting them go out to somebody's home. Why would they need to do that? So to me, that's not true. And it's not really, they say that they need more information from me, but they didn't really provide much themselves, did they? And they didn't investigate it. So I would say that there is a lot more to it than that. So hence why do I say, this is where faith is so important. Because where the physical realm fails you, your spiritual realm won't. And what do I mean? You may not get justice in the physical, but you can't avoid justice in the spiritual, and that is whatever you put out is what's coming back to you. So your measure is based on what you do, not what other people do. So whatever energy you want to throw out at somebody, and however bad it is, it comes back to you because it's your energy. And it doesn't matter where you move to, where you run to. The karma doesn't forget an address. You reap what you sow. So that's one of the things. So I wanted to just put it out there because my spirit was going this morning, and I know that they wanted me to put it out and stuff. So I've done it. I'm going to start doing some coaching, and I'm going to start doing some, some, if you feel that, spiritual warfare coaching and things like that, because it's a journey, and, sometimes you have no one to talk to that understands what you're going through. And I said on the previous one, there's a reader out there, she said, if you was to ever, it's a collective reading, but I took it as part of some of the things that resonated with me. If we were to ever explain to people what we've gone through, because it's all very hidden and it's all very insidious and it's all very backhanded, to try and make you look mad, because that's the whole purpose. They want to force a narrative because they've lied so much, in my instance anyway, that they do use these tactics, MK Ultra, mind control, all the silly stuff that they use, against your free will, and it's illegal as well, and the illegal surveillancing and all that sort of stuff, and creating things. Even in here, they've been in here, and I know they mess with things. you know. So, but you know, being psychic is one thing, isn't it? And being highly intuitive is something else. And they don't like that because they know that I know, hence why they don't want us around, really. But you know, the spiritual realm, it has the ultimate decision, doesn't it? And God. And he doesn't want these energies around anymore, and the reason being is because they're not actually adding any value to life. They're not adding any value to humanity. All they're doing is taking a load of money and just going partying and just spending money on spell work. Well, that ain't great, is it? No. So hey ho. Anyway, the campaign isn't just about the people that are bullied, because I mean, obviously, you know, kindness is about everything, isn't it? And I recognise that there will be people who have probably for whatever reason gone down the road and have caught themselves up in being a bully. I don't know. Excuse me. Spiritual burp. But maybe are ready to look at it and change their karmic debt and change their generational curse and look at it from a different perspective. You know, I believe that anyone can change. You know, and obviously it's not for me to judge, it's not for me to administer your karma, so you only the powers of be will do that, so it's not for me to even judge. But if I can help in any way, as long as I'm not going to catch any of your karma, then I will, of course. You know, kindness is free, isn't it? And that's what we're here for. That's what humanity is. It's about being kind and looking out for your fellow man, not throwing them under a bus and trying to sacrifice people because you get something for it. It's not what it's about. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. That's why, you know, walk in faith through adversity. Never feel like you're on your own, because you're not. And, you know, I'm probably going to do some sort of complaints service as well, because obviously I've got my degree and stuff, and obviously I've worked in offices for a long time. But so if anything like that comes about, I definitely will help you on that as well. And obviously there'll be a service charge for that. But you know, take it easy. I'll put some stuff in the boxes as I went, and you know, the coaching I'll put in there as well. And I feel like I can start doing that now, because whoever was in my system, I think that they're now being watched anyway, hence the fake YouTube channel. They were being watched on that anyway, so now I think there's a little bit more a breather, you know, where they were really trying to squeeze me to stop me doing anything. I do get a little bit of post now, and I get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So things are starting to change. But I don't necessarily think that that's necessarily the local police that have done it, or maybe there is somebody in the local police that, you know, I always believe that it's not everyone has a bad apple, and maybe there is somebody in there that has seen things for what they are. But also, we all have a boss, don't we? There's always somebody that somebody has to report to, and I think we all have to remember that. Not everyone's a bad apple. So yeah, and obviously they did confirm on the last visit that, you know, it was my mother that was making the phone calls about mental health. So that just raised another question. And as I said to my sister as well, I said, you know, you've got to be careful with that sort of stuff, because when you keep doing it, they're going to start looking at you and asking why you're doing it, and then they're going to go down that rabbit hole, which I think probably has already happened, hasn't it? And if it hasn't happened, I'm sure it will in the future. So I think people need to be very mindful when you start throwing out stuff. Karma is karma, and what it does, it's a mirror. So when you start attacking somebody else who's innocent, and then somebody comes along and goes, well, why is that person constantly doing that? Let's have a look at them. Let's understand what's going on there. And then they find things that you don't want people to know, hence why you're doing it in the first place. So I would just say, be mindful. That's what mindfulness is, isn't it? You know, where you think you're actually doing something right, you're actually opening up another can of worms for yourself. And that's not just the person that's done it against me, that's just general advice to anyone. You know, if you want to keep your secrets, make sure that your closet's clean as well. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous, and sending much love, light, harmony, peace and healing to all those that need it. Have a chuckle at that response, because, you know, for someone to have gone through the crimes that I've gone through and that's the response, I think any judge in the land would see that as disgusting behaviour. Hey ho, it is what it is. So I've fulfilled what the Spirit wanted me to do, because I was getting pushed this morning. So I've done it, and I'm going to upload, and I'll see you all soon. And hopefully you'll all support the campaign and donate when I put that up as well. I do have some merchandise as well, so hopefully I can get that up and running. I couldn't do anything because they blocked me on everything, so now hopefully I can start to do things and get things moving now, and get the message out there a little bit. So thank you for everybody that's supporting me, and thank you for all those that are trying to control the channel. Whatever you're doing, it's God's will, and God works in mysterious ways, and so obviously he wants that for the purpose of now, I guess. And moving forward, I'm sure that we'll touch as many people as we can, whether that be people on the dark who want to balance the dark and the light, and more people on the light who want to understand the dark. I was brought up in the dark, but I've always been light, because I just work on the premise that honesty is the best policy, and being truthful. I don't really see the point in lying, and if I've got something to say to you, I'm going to say it to your face. I ain't going to say it behind your back, because I don't believe in gossiping. Because if I'm going to gossip, then I know that they say, don't they, the gossiper will always gossip about you. So if I've got something to say, I'm going to say it to your face. And I think you can't go wrong with that, and you don't get bad karma for it. So, and you don't need to lie, because the truth will always prevail. So yeah, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.